Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Homeroom Lending Podcast. I am your co host, Jamie, along with my partner, Kim. We will be bringing you an in depth look into the process of getting a home loan, and we'll be sitting down with people from all walks of life to discuss their experiences when it comes to homeownership. Join us every other Wednesday for new episodes, and make sure you follow us on social media platforms at Homeroom Lending. So, welcome everybody for the first episode of the Home Lending Podcast. I'm here with my co-host Kim,
Hi, everybody.
our producer Steve, and as well as our first guest and our third member of the team, Liz Mercado.
Hello, everyone.
So, as you heard in the introduction, we'll be discussing everything you need to know about getting a home loan. And we'll be sitting down with different types of people that can lend their experiences with home lending and home ownership. In this episode, we're going to be introducing ourselves and what you can expect from the future of these episodes of the Home Loan Lending Podcast. And the basic structure is going to be we're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to run an interview and discussion with different individuals, different professionals. We're going to be doing a segment where it's going to just show a pop quiz to everyone, and we're going to be closing out and getting into the episode itself. Just to start out, to introduce myself, I am a loan officer with East Coast Capital. Basically I've been in the business for about 5 years. Prior to that, I was a financial advisor. I worked at different institutions, and have a background essentially in finance. I've always been passionate about working with people, helping them understand what it is that I do as a sort of like as a fiduciary. I'm in a good position where I can talk to people, go through their finances, and help them, obtain, get into a home, right? Get into essentially what everyone is the home of their dreams. So that's a little bit of my background essentially. So we're going to say a little bit of ourselves. Kim, can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Yes.
And
Hello. I have been in the mortgage industry for approximately 25 years. I started out in the processing department, helping loan officers, and now what I do is I am the pipeline manager for Jamie, and we pretty much have the same goals in mind when it comes to taking care of our clients, making sure they are, we do the best to our ability to get you in the perfect loan. Before that, I was in the insurance industry, so I've always been in this type of industry, taking care of people, and, because I was in the claims, and now mortgages. So, now Liz?
Well, I'm
Where'd
Liz.
you come from?
Where did I come from? I came from the rabbit's hole. No. Well, mortgage is new to me. As you guys are learning, I'm learning as well. But I was in the hospitality business for a long time, about 15, 20 years, management, working alongside employees, staff members, helping them grow themselves and a lot of client relations. So now I'm in the mortgage industry, kind of learning as everybody else is learning as well. But, I'm a quick learner, and I'm really out there to help our clients learn about the experience. It's a process. It's they need guidance. It's not one of those things that it happens overnight. So I definitely am excited to help, and change people's lives. That's why I was in the hospitality business. You change. You make an experience. You create an experience. So I definitely want to continue doing that.
Yeah.
And here we are. We're doing our first podcast. It's kind of like a cool experience sitting here with people that we've been working with all year basically, and I feel like we're about to launch into something pretty amazing. Just the fact that we're just sitting here talking and sometimes missing the mic or jumping out of frame and not knowing what to say, but it's it's kind of cool. It's like I think we definitely if we can get past if we could just do this enough and talk to people and get our message out there and let them learn from what our experiences. I know for a fact that we're gonna have people that are gonna reach out to us and basically try to learn more about the business.
Absolutely.
So yes, there's a lot of stuff that we want to do, whether it's expand our reach to be able to I guess everybody's here to in some sort of way express themselves, right? We've been in this business. We're good with numbers. We're good with relating to people and sitting down and go over making sure that things are getting done. As far as like doing a loan, I've never worked with anybody that is as good as Kim as far as sitting down and just breaking down a loan or more any type of loan, whether it's a non-qualified loan or conventional FHA, any of those issues. She's been able to just kind of solve them one way or the other. Like nothing dies, nothing dies. It's amazes me that we could bring back sometimes when it feels like the loan has died.
Yeah, it's like a defeat, and then all of a sudden
impossible.
It's impossible. Right? And you know what's really
that's what we say.
That's what Liz calls me.
Yeah,
impossible.
Impossible. Yeah, and you know what? That's really cool. And also I feel like with Liz, like you've been able to pick up on that, and we had recently a deal with a lot of stuff on a particular. With a particular client where there was, in Florida, as a matter of fact, where there was a lot of issues with the land and having to, had the well of the property, surveyed, and it was surveyed wrong, and we were under the gun, and it's in a remote area, and basically anything that could go wrong.
Probably
everybody got the COVID
wrong.
in that area as well. So it's like everybody was, feeling it. So we kind of, we never gave up on that. And when I say we, Liz, I know like basically she just stuck it out. Obviously if it wasn't for Kim, her guidance and everything else. But Liz was basically like, she has also that same, mindset about not giving up on a loan and making sure it gets done.
100%. I feel like I became an expert
big time
in that type of loan with mobile manufactured homes and wells. I'm like, now I was like, ask me where to find the information. I will make sure that I can find out what guidelines and local guidelines. We'll find it out and who to contact.
That's how you learn. Each loan is different. So you'll learn every aspect, right? It's like there's no loan the same. Whether you could say conventional, FHA, it doesn't matter. I could do 100 FHA loans, and each one is different.
Yeah.
So, that's how you learn every aspect.
Yeah, because it's crazy, but it's definitely a learning experience, and it's just, and then dealing with with clients, and also them not 100% understanding what's going on and what fires you're really truly putting out, because you're, doing a little soft side not to worry them because everything's under control, but it doesn't seem like it's under control, but it is.
Exactly.
It's control chaos.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think I think a lot of people don't know how, like, even from the real estate agent side, don't understand how much work and what goes into it. Sometimes how on top you have to be on top of a loan to make sure that it moves through. Like it's just it's basically like they're
it's
your
kids.
Baby. Yeah, they're your baby. It's like it's
definitely your baby.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You have to have that babysitter skill.
Yes.
To the max, and
it's even funny that you say like as a baby, because I still feel like with that it's like a client. Your client is your baby. You're going through the process with them. You just help them get a 30-year loan.
You have to pacify them.
You
have to
right? In fact,
and
I
that
feel
was
like
letting them go for a little bit, and then hopefully our relationships are strong and they'll come back when they're ready to invest, or they're ready to be grown-ups
Yeah.
in the aspect of owning a home.
Yes.
Yeah. No, in fact, I feel like I think that's part also with our, with Homeroom lending the the name of our podcast, the name of our Instagram, our team. Why we decided to go with that is like basically we see most clients, even if they're experienced. I mean, you have clients that come back to us that are buying their investment property, for example, or it could be their 10th investment property. It doesn't make a difference, if they're not a loan officer, right? If they're not, they don't understand. If they're not someone who's in the process involved, whether it's the underwriter, the processor, internally, and actually what they're doing.
Because things change.
Things change. Yeah, it's
there's things that are changing every day, and the people out there, they don't know. So
Right.
they come to us, so we have to know it.
absolutely. So
Yes.
so it segues right into like our branding, which is like people come to us, they're like first grade, And then they're like,
Exactly.
by the time like we talk a little more, they get to second grade.
Yes.
I mean, the challenge that we have, right, is that when we sit down with someone, we have to take them from like kindergarten, some sense, right,
Yep.
sometimes all the way through high school to just get them to graduate, basically.
Exactly.
And some people, the problem is that when you run through that, right, the challenge is that when we run through that with them, not everybody can take on all the grades in
much
one shot,
at
right?
one
They could
time.
get up to like
Yes.
seventh grade. They're like, all right, listen, that's where I'm at. You do the rest and everything else.
Exactly.
But it's better. Obviously, the more the client knows, the less they'll ever have concerns and doubts or anything like
Questions.
that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're more covered. That's just human nature. The more you know what you're getting into,
Yes,
you're
definitely.
gonna feel more comfortable. You're gonna want to move forward and
And that's the goal,
Yes.
right?
Have more
Trying
communication.
to make sure they're comfortable and they know every aspect of the loan. Because there's a lot of people out there that unfortunately don't do that.
Yes.
So it's nice working with people that have the same motto as I do, because I've always had that, and that will never change. I'm always a teacher, and
right.
it's
Always guiding.
always.
Like, I'm always looking for growth and trying to like see how I can help and then show people, okay, there's way to grow. Like, you don't just have to be
Yes.
a homeowner. It's not just
Right.
about getting your first home. All right, now that
That's the exciting part.
That's the exciting part, and then teaching, like, okay, now that you're here, what are other options that we could do? How are we gonna,
Yes.
grow? Like, one of my things my dad always says, you don't get rich just by working. It's just using your brain is more
Knowledge.
the aspect of it, So I want to give that to our clients and let them know there's options out there that what we can do to help you out.
Definitely. When I first started in this industry, I literally went to school for titles so I can learn the ins and outs of a title. And everybody would say to me, you don't need to know a title,
Right.
But I was like, no, I do.
Or anything besides
Right.
sell.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Like, why do you need to know what's
Yeah.
in the title? I'm like, because I need to know, from my own self. Like, when I
Right.
do something, I like to know from A to Z. So when I'm doing a loan and speaking to clients, I
But
want
how
to teach
important
them.
is title in the loan process?
It's so important.
And not many people know
Absolutely.
that even title is a thing going through the loan process.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that can make or break you.
Yeah.
If you don't know
direct
about it.
impact on your ratios,
Yeah.
directly. That's where you would,
Just
you would-
everything, everything about it.
Yeah.
Just making sure the client has a clear title. Listen, that's the title company's job and the underwriters, but you know what? Me as a person, when I do a loan, I look through title. I make sure the title's clear. And if
Yeah.
it's not, what do? I go above and beyond and I start to clear that title, because that could hurt your loan at the end.
Yes.
So I don't wait for the closing department or the attorneys, because you can't.
Yeah, because that's going to add another month basically sometimes
Absolutely.
to the whole process. If you can get it done way before,
Right.
While everything's happening, then you're
Staying ahead of the game.
oh
yeah.
heck yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
a big
so-
deal.
That's that's definitely the way I am, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach you, which you're a great learner, to be that way.
Yeah,
And,
no.
it's either in you or it's not, right? I mean,
Right.
no matter what job. I always taught my kids, it doesn't matter if you're throwing the garbage out. do it to the best of your ability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm a big believer of learning from the bottom.
Yes.
And then working your way up, because one, you learn the tips and the tricks, right? In doing it from the bottom. It's like, I look at it as hospitality. Hospitality's been part of my life. Is looking at the dishwasher is the most important person
Right.
in a restaurant, right? Because the dishwasher is the one that's making sure that you're eating off a clean plate and
Absolutely.
having clean silverware.
And people don't know that.
And people don't know that.
They don't realize it.
They don't realize this, but knowing that how you work as a dishwasher to working as a prep cook to working, it's the same thing as mortgage, learning from the bottom and learning those little intricacies that are going to make and change someone's life and even someone's career, just to be successful, knowing the ins and outs of everything.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So it's great.
Yeah, on top of that, we're also catered to the Hispanic community. We're bilingual. We can sit down with a client who only speaks Spanish and be able to, solve their, sit down with them, do complete analysis,
Right.
Where they can really understand and, give them solutions to, their problems or their concerns or whatever the case is, like where they feel like, they're getting treated right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also seniors.
Yeah.
We do reverse mortgages, which
that's
is, a lot of people don't know much about reverse mortgages, or they have
the stigma.
A bad rap. They do.
Yeah.
Some people think, oh, you don't own your home, which is not true. It's a great loan for people that, that if it fits what you need, it's a great loan.
Yeah.
Reverse mortgages are wonderful for anybody over the age of 62. So there's so much to know in a reverse mortgage that, I did reverse mortgages for 7 years, and that's all I did for those 7 years. And, working with attorneys, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world.
It really is. And so you definitely need to make sure that you go to somebody that knows, because you don't want, some people, it's just not a loan for them, but it would be our responsibility to make sure that they go in the correct loan.
Yes.
Whether it's, putting them in a reverse or a conventional loan, So
But that's where we come from.
Exactly.
And having that client relation is really digging in. And I always say, we're your best friends.
Exactly.
Don't hold any judgments behind, if you feel a certain way uncomfortable because of a certain finance or a certain mistake that you made in the past, it doesn't mean that, we're here to judge you and we're say, okay, you know what, you're not the client for us, because those aren't the things that we're looking for. We're trying to help you and make sure that you're making the right decisions and you're guided the right way. Because there are people out there that are just looking at you more as a dollar sign than as a human
100%.
being. And it's sad.
It is sad.
It's
very sad. But, come to us. We're got you back.
Yeah. In fact, yes. And so Liz, as, being part of the team and seeing different things, seeing how the different loans unfold and just kind of seeing the cycle, what do you feel like you've learned the most? What's the one thing that sticks out to you? You feel like you've been able to
Don't stop. If you think that the answer is that's the answer, I'm sure you can find something else. There's another
Right.
avenue. There's not just one way, and if we can't do it one way, there's going to be another way that we can figure it out. And just be patient, because with patience, life, it's overwhelming and you could easily lose track in the whole process. So just staying patient and knowing that things will get figured out and we'll find a way.
Right.
It's definitely something you just keep going.
Keeping your cool and keep going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's very important.
Yeah. And
what we do.
and these are people's lives. These are people's lives that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a roller coaster for them. It's a roller coaster for us. So stay patient.
And we got them.
Yeah. Most of the loans, I feel like they go through pretty smoothly. I feel like they go, there's never any issues. Just that one that, that kind of takes you out of the whole, out of the other ones basically, right?
Yeah.
That kind of just takes up most of your time.
But it has to be structured the right way.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Structured.
That's I always
make sure.
I
That's the
always
most
say to you,
important. Yeah.
most important from the very beginning, structure the loan correctly.
Yeah.
Make sure you have the income, the jobs, everything right.
Everything.
So you, right? I mean,
Even like
no
now,
underwriter can come back and say, "Oh no," because you know what? I know,
Yeah.
exactly what dates they worked there.
Everything.
It's very important.
Yep. And they're like, oh, I didn't understand this. I'm like, wait, let me explain it to you because I have it all laid out. One of our processors, who's teaching me always says, you're going in there like you're going to see a judge. So have all your evidence ready. He's, printed out, highlighted. So when there's questions, you have your answers and there's a way that you have that evidence. And they're like, oh, okay.
Right.
She knows what she's talking about. It's not,
Yeah.
just a random newbie around there. Just, So I come with my evidence, like I'm going to court every day
That's what it
when
do,
I have
yeah.
to figure something out. But I'm definitely like structuring, something. When we get the sales contract, one of the first thing I'm doing is Googling the property just to see what condition the property is
Yeah.
in, to see if we're gonna have any, bumpy roads or what we have to do to figure out beforehand.
Oh, the
As well as,
taxes.
like, the
There's a lot of
taxes.
stuff you gotta pull up. Yeah.
Got to figure it out before we get there,
Yeah. No.
Make it
Yeah.
as smooth as possible.
So Liz, so what do you see yourself like? Developing into like what's how do you feel like just kind of?
I mean, it's really funny because there's so many different avenues of the mortgage business. It's the back end. Back end, I get thrills out of doing it because it's one of those things just always trying to figure out. And then I also like the sales aspect of like speaking to our clients. So working, I'm gonna work and get my license hopefully soon within the end of this year. Kind of my deadline, but I definitely am looking to grow with this team and just change people's lives.
Yeah.
One way, one day, one person, one house, one loan at a time, but maybe two at a time. Or more, but that's my goal is to sit there and help change
Usually
people's
like a lot
lives.
more than that.
Yeah. Just keep it going. But it's definitely something I'm looking to grow in, and for myself, just being a career woman, and finally finding that niche. I feel like I found that niche at 35. It takes a little time for some people,
Absolutely.
but I'm excited.
I think you're really good at what you do. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like
I appreciate
you
that.
get it. It's not everybody has the ability to deal with different personalities and just kind of like be able to like just
Definitely.
Yeah.
work and
Oh,
on
but
a
that's
daily
yeah.
basis.
Oh, that stuff again. I always go back to my hospitality because that's something that I learned in
You have
in
to help a bunch of
management.
people,
Like I've managed at the Cheesecake Factory over 100 employees, and I always looked at it and said you can't manage each one of them the same way. You have to look at each one of them differently and
course.
manage them each differently because not one person reciprocates to you like the other person does.
Everybody
I think
has
it's the same
different
thing.
needs.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the loan. You can't manage one loan thinking, all right, well, I did this with this loan, so I'm going to do the same thing with this one.
Right. Even like homeowners insurance. I mean, how many times are we doing a refinance for somebody and, oh, your insurance looks very high, right? So what do? We try
Extremely
to now,
high.
Yeah.
try to price it out with other companies and, that's for your pocket.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
For us, it's, some people would just leave it. It's just more work. But for us, we make sure.
We want to take care of
We always
them.
look at it because, why should you be paying
the
more money?
benefit, benefit
so
our
that's
clients.
something-
Yeah, and it just feels right. I mean, it just feels
Exactly.
right to do, because that it's somebody's being taken advantage.
Yes.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you see somebody's just paying double the homeowners insurance that they should be double
Yes.
sometimes or more.
It's crazy.
Um,
It's sad. It's
things
really
like
sad
that.
because, even people that gave them that homeowners insurance, like they
just
know.
Yeah.
They know that
They
they're
know what they're doing.
completely overinsured. The house isn't even worth what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Worth that. It's just, it's sad.
And it's so easy to change, just a phone call away. And if you have the insight and the knowledge,
They
I
don't
mean, people, that's probably like a side business on its own, I think, that people, because nobody ever calls just on that to change that. They feel like, they see the annual and they say it seems so low. Sometimes it seems low, but when you compare it to everybody
reality.
else's, you're paying very often double. Like you would never pay double car insurance,
Right.
but they'll pay double homeowners insurance.
So we do work with like a lot of, insurance companies that we can refer them
Exactly.
to, and it's up to them. It's your choice.
Yeah.
But,
It's your choice.
we give you the knowledge and the know-how to try to fix it.
And just from a financial
quotes.
standpoint or something
Yeah.
like that, like they save money.
They save money.
They could put it like you say, like we recommend insurance companies. They could take that same money and they put it into, say, a policy protection for,
Yes.
for the house.
Exactly.
Yep.
So like that's something that I know you like are very like involved in, where
Yes.
you fight for that homeowners insurance to go down.
Exactly.
I mean, not like
Yeah.
we have. It's not like you're trying to like
Have them underinsured.
Right.
No, just,
No.
I
What
want
they
them
need.
insured to what you need.
because it's
But not overinsured.
Yeah, 'cause there's no way around it at the end of the day, because we know the minimum that we need to get a mortgage, and the minimum is a lot.
Right.
Because the mortgage company requires a lot. It requires to have enough, to cover the property. So if you don't have that alone, you're out of compliance with that. So you're underinsured.
Funny story is that when I did the reverses, I actually, because seniors can get senior citizen discounts for their property taxes. So a big thing I used to do on every loan was give them the applications, because a lot of people don't know that.
Right.
And you know how much money they save on taxes? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really astronomical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people
The
would
STAR
say to me,
program,
like, why do
tell
you do
client.
that? Like, that's
Like
just so
just-
much more work. And why
Yeah,
do you do that?
get-
Because these people are paying so much money in taxes, and these seniors are budgeted.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just sad to me. So, I
Exactly.
that's on every loan, with seniors. You have to make sure that their stuff is perfect, because
Yeah.
they really are on a fixed income, and
Yeah.
it
And
could
a lot
be,
of times they could have been taken advantage before in the past,
very
and it's like
sad.
they're
Big
now they're
difference,
just still
Yeah.
struggling
Yeah.
because they were taken advantage. Now
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
we're,
so I always make sure that's very big. Make sure. Listen, I do it on everybody, but seniors have my heart. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
I treat them like they're my
Because
parents.
babies can't get loans, so that's why.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But yeah, right now I feel like we're in a good position. I think based on our background, based on everything that's happening, I feel like the only other thing that I could say is that right now we're in an environment in terms of what the expectations are for the rest of the year, right? I mean, in terms of what the analysts are saying out there. In terms of the values of the properties, as far as the rates where they're going to be, we have the mortgage side covered as far as make sure we stay on top of the guidelines, and if anything changes, we're pivoting and we're ready to to go on something like that. But the forecast right now, I just want to make sure that everybody understands this, right? And there's a lot of hearsay in the industry all the time. But the reality is that right now inflation is high. I'm sure that's something that people are talking about. Inflation is very high, and the only way to combat inflation is by raising the rates. So now there's a catalyst. Now there's a reason why rates will go up. Before it was just kind of like, if this happens, if that happens. No, it's happening. Inflation's higher, right? We could research that and find out about that. And the only way to fight inflation is by raising the rates. So, we're expecting, a 0.5 point hike. So let's say we were all seeing 2.5. We're going to be seeing 3. If you're seeing 3, you're going to see 3.5, and that's going to be, in the next months. Where if it's going to happen overnight, sometimes it's happened overnight, right? But it's a matter of time in the next few weeks to months before the end of this first quarter of the year, where rates are going to be higher. They're going to be higher. So in terms of real estate, The thing is that there's a play for everybody in this, I guess. Like in terms of make sure you get into a house, but essentially if you have a percentage rate on a on a property on a say $500,000 house or $50,000, half a point is roughly about $50,000. That you're going to pay additionally for that mortgage. So if it's $350, now you're paying $400. So even though the properties are not going to go up in value, while the rates go up in value, that's going to increase what you're paying for the house.
Right.
So either way,
It's high already.
Yeah,
with
so-
houses.
Exactly. So the good thing is that they're forecasting that they're going to level out.
Level.
Yeah, and actually we've just experienced the slowest growth in housing sales in the last so many years, in the last past 5 years. So it's slowing down tremendously. So we're gonna have it's not gonna be as competitive as it was last year.
Has been.
We're gonna have more opportunities to be able to look at houses and negotiate and not get kind of caught up in that
The overbidding.
the overbidding, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
everything that was happening, the cutthroat and
Still
all that
happening.
stuff. People
Still
are gonna
happening.
still happening. So and
Yeah.
it's certain areas. Long Island's a hot market, but overall the idea is that it's going to essentially level out, and we're gonna have a little bit of a breathing room. So but again, going back to the rates, we want to make sure that it just doesn't get away from you, because if that house that you're looking to buy for $500,000, as the rates keep going higher, not only are you buying it for less, but you're also paying more for
higher,
it long term.
yeah.
So it's like a double double hit on you
Yeah.
financially. So basically, the time to make a move. You're on the sidelines to buy property
ready-
or to refinance
Right.
for crying out loud. It's time to go ahead and make
ready,
that
do
move,
it now.
because
Yeah.
it's happening. The rates are definitely moving higher.
Cool. So I'm going to jump in here and do our first pop quiz.
Okay.
Pop quiz.
Pop quiz.
I'm personally
Pop quiz.
I'm personally excited about this segment because I get airtime, but also but also I'm learning along with you, so I'm going to ask questions that maybe I want to know, and base it off of the conversation and the guests that you have for that day. Today, you kind of stole my question. I had one in mind, which was the credit scores that you mentioned, like the minimum credit scores.
Yes.
So I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to ask a different question about something else that was mentioned that I actually read this morning, which is, you said inflation is getting pretty high.
Yeah.
I actually read this morning what the new inflation rate is. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't know what the new one is. Though.
Any
sure.
guesses?
No.
I would say where we're at.
Inflation rate?
Or whatever inflation was for this past year for the U.S. dollar.
Oh.
For the US dollar against the US dollar. I don't know, man. It has to be in the threes, no?
7%.
What?
That's what I read this morning.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, I think you know what? Yeah, 7%.
7%.
Average
It's like
is about
the-
3
It's the highest that it's been in a long time.
In
in a long time. So
right?
what I
Since, like, the
read
80s,
was
I read.
a month ago.
Crazy.
Or something like
when
that.
I dropped off my laundry to pick it up, and it was like $10 more than last week. I was like, "Excuse me, wait." And she's like, "I'm sorry, we just had to raise all the prices."
Everything.
Everything's going up, yeah.
Within 1
Think
week.
about
they raised it.
construction. I mean, they're saying everything's doubled.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
So that's
It's
that's how the real estate is losing its growth,
Momentum.
because you're taking 7% off of that. Mm-hmm. So let's say that house was built, needed the material to build a house was worth $100,000.
Oh yeah,
Now
now
it's worth 107% worth, right? So now you have to account for that value of the house. You just lost 7%, more or
crazy.
less, on the values of the
Yeah.
house. So it's killing the.
I've been looking to redo my kitchen, right? And the prices, just the lumber, just everything is just crazy.
Yep.
And I know builders, that say if it was costing me $100,000, now it's $250. It's just astronomical. The
Yeah.
freight costs, just everything across the board. Listen, the virus,
That's gonna
killed everybody. It really, really did a lot of
there's not enough
damage.
materials.
It's
Growth
so
is
sad.
slowing. Yeah, everything's slowing down. So it's gonna be
It's
interesting,
really sad.
with the rate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that inflation
7%.
is really going to be a big challenge. It already is, actually. The rates already went up. Rates already went
Yeah.
up. The core,
Yesterday.
the 10-year Treasury. You
Was-
saw?
yeah, I saw
Yeah.
it.
The 10-year Treasury was like 1.43. I say about a month ago, and now it jumped. It's already at 1.7.
1.7.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1.73. So it's so it's been moving higher.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a client the other day ask me a couple of days ago where the rates were, and I just took a picture of the 10-year Treasury, and just on that alone, you see the huge. We're back almost at what we were. I want to say a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I know that it definitely took a big hit.
Yeah.
I saw it yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's when they made the
Yeah.
actual
yesterday,
announcement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
that I read about this morning.
Yeah,
So it's crazy.
Yeah. It really
Yeah,
is.
so yeah, no,
Now's a good time. Now's the time.
Now's
the time.
It's like a lot of times you hear that, but it's like it's happening.
Yeah.
Like I hear, oh, now it's the time to buy. Now it's the time to buy. But now it's like because of the rates or whatever, they're going up. But now it's really happening.
Yeah. So
Unless
it's
something drastic
like,
happens.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just, keep, also people saying, oh, I know a lot of people that are thinking, oh, I want to sell my house, but then I have to buy. And then, so it's kind of evening out for those people, because you're selling high.
Right.
So you're getting a lot more money. So now you're buying high, but, it's kind of.
And they feel they can negotiate though sometimes, but in reality they're not. It's based on the appraised value. So
Right.
unless they,
Yeah. So it's kind of evening out for those people, but.
Yeah, that's another thing we could always talk about. We could talk about a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
How like
We could go on
appraised
forever.
values. Just because that,
We'll have
that'd be
a lot.
like a topic right there.
Yeah.
Like
We'll have lots of episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Exactly.
like that's a big thing actually. Like
is.
appraised value, like especially dealing. Came as a real estate agent. Like you've been on the front lines with that basically.
Yes.
Where a lot of people, they're always reluctant to bid higher because they think that they're gonna that they're getting conned.
Right.
Not so much. All right, we're not negotiating good. And I just don't feel like I'm paying enough because they've decided. They know what the value moral is, but at the end of the day, most people what they don't know is that we can't give them a mortgage, no matter like if you don't. There's going to be an appraised value,
Right.
Unless you're doing something out of contract and you're changing the language of the contract,
Yeah.
and you're taking out the contingency clause that if you're,
If the value doesn't come in,
Yeah.
I'm still paying for the additional money
For the
out
additional
of my
money.
pocket and
Right.
the
So
whole bit.
yeah. So in New York, that's always in there. So you're not gonna, that's not something you have to be concerned with as long as you don't take it out of there. Right. You
Right.
sign, but as long as those conversations start and they're telling you, oh, like we want to take that out. And if it comes in higher, you're gonna pay the difference. But the reality is, if you're in a situation where nobody's asking you about that, don't worry about it. Offer higher. You can offer higher because at the end of the day, the contingency clause is going to draw a line where
Right.
that value should be, which is based on the real value of the property. Where it's not like back in the day where you can call an appraiser and how people used to do, and they could just call someone and try to influence pricing or all these things.
Exactly.
It's just
You can't
it's
do
not
any
you
of
can't
that.
do that.
No.
You never could. It's just that it was accessible and people did that back
Right.
in the day.
Yes.
Like 10 years ago, it was very easy. There was no guidelines, no regulations. And then people, who bought then and they're buying now or refinancing.
They
and
don't
and
realize.
they get-
They're like,
yeah.
oh, can't you call? I'm like,
You can
no.
go down to great. Yeah, it's like it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And we don't want to talk. We don't want to call them. We don't want to
No.
deal with them because they let them do the appraised value of what it truly is, and then
So
based on
you
that,
know.
you know what it truly. Yeah, they're not. We don't want to influence them. Why? It's like just let it be this way. If the value's lower, then you get it adjusted. By
Right,
calling
then your
your
attorneys will speak
get
to
involved.
one another and see, what can be done. But, but it's funny because,
Don't
I
shy
do have
away.
a lot of clients from years ago that do call and they're like, Kim, can you call your appraiser? I'm like, no.
And see
I
where
don't
we were
have
at,
an
like,
appraiser.
the real value.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people miss opportunities. If you're working with a real estate agent that doesn't, they're not aware of that. They're not really truly believe it. Like we're just like it's like a thing or something. But
Yeah,
like,
and houses are having multiple bids.
right,
I mean,
right. So you should be a little bit more aggressive in your offer.
absolutely.
As long
Yeah,
as
if you really want that house bid, because
yeah,
you're
if it's
definitely
worth
gonna
it,
be
it's
up
worth
there.
it. It's just again, as long as you don't go in, it's not a situation where they're saying, you're gonna have to pay above sticker price.
Right.
If you're
Well,
not,
that's it.
but if you're not, go aggressive. Because I hear a lot of people, I don't want to bid higher.
Yeah,
But
I lost the house for $5,000.
For $5,000.
$5,000 in a 30-year mortgage.
when the rates are their all-time low,
Yeah.
it's like
It's
it's just not a
nothing.
good investment decision.
No.
Aside from forget about the emotions of the house, you loved it or not. It's just not a good investment. $25,000. If you're lucky enough to be able to put it into the mortgage, you qualify for it.
Right.
The house is worth it. It is what it's worth.
Exactly.
It
Most
is what it's
important.
worth.
You're not going to buy something that's it's worth $200,000 and you're going to pay $250,000.
Exactly.
Even as a mortgage, I mean that has happened. I've had that people would say to me, "Oh, well, the value came in lower, but I still want the house."
Right.
And I still want to pay that $20,000. Listen, I can only give you my opinion at that point.
Yeah.
But it does happen.
Yeah.
Right?
It's-
it just has happened in the past, and it still happens now.
And it'll happen in the future.
Yeah, and in fact, like I also feel like just by not people not being informed, that a lot of times, like the only person that can walk you through that is really us, right? Like there's no other person involved in the transaction that could really explain that to the clients. And a lot of times, like if they're not in working as a team with other people, like for example, the real estate agent, the attorney, who people are involved in getting this done. If they're not kind of like working together well,
Yeah,
all that stuff can fall through the cracks.
absolutely.
Where like you said, they wouldn't bid on a house for $5,000, or they would lose
Right.
the house for $5,000 or $10,000, when the market is so
Yeah.
amazingly hot.
Right.
You know?
And you're limited with homes out there. That's
Exactly. And talking about limited with homes,
Ooh.
just a lot of people also, they don't know, like even real estate agents, right? That they don't know that we could make an offer to a short sale, a foreclosure, as long as you can get in with a 2 or 3K loan.
right.
As long as it's an FHA 2 or 3K loan, and the client, because those, they don't even know they can approach those opportunities out there because they think they need a hard money loan, for example,
Right.
and that's not something they want to get into. Where it's the
Yeah.
market's open for
Right.
that as well. It's just you have to
Short sales
know
are another,
it's another.
a whole nother, another.
It's a whole different
yeah,
beast.
It is.
It's
It
a whole
is,
different
yes.
beast.
I've done them.
They're
thousands of them.
they sell as is. They sell as is.
is.
And that's why you need that FHA 2 3K loan to have a shot at getting in. If the bank
Yeah.
approves it, you
Right.
get the right pricing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And and that's one thing with the bank. They're not going to screw around with the appraisal value.
No.
It's going to be what it is.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
what's great is that you can get in. There's an entry for those properties as well. When I know a lot of times a real estate agent will kind of just walk away from it
yes.
because they're not aware that we can just get in through a construction loan, which is essentially a construction loan that we're talking about is a 2 or 3K, an FHA 2 or 3K
2 or
loan.
3K, yeah.
So it's just like any other FHA loan. It's just that you could do construction.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the short sales, in reality are, investors buy them,
Right.
in reality. But yeah, we can, definitely help with that.
Yeah, and they
if
come across
somebody's
the opportunity.
interested.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they have it. They would not to shy away from it.
No.
At least inquire and see. Because
Because we could do anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, short sales.
I've done, short sales for investors that, I did
Yeah.
that for a few years, just worked with investors doing all their short sales. And, it's good.
So I think that's a
It's definitely a good
great way to
market.
wrap up this first episode. I know we're coming to the end here,
Yeah.
and I like ending it on we can do anything.
We could
Yeah.
do anything.
So do you
We
have?
could do anything.
We could do
I'll
anything.
push it back to you guys and let you kind of close it out however you want. Do you have any final thoughts about this first episode and about the podcast in general?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is definitely you see people doing it, and I want to give a lot of people out there doing this a lot of a lot of credit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Just
Because
be able to put yourself in a position. Hey, listen, a lot of people are natural at doing this, and they'll go out there and they'll do it, and they do amazing. But I definitely have to say it's definitely humbling to sit here, and also talk about your craft and what you've been doing for the past
it's not
many
easy
years of
talking
your
about
life.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
talking about
it's not.
yourself. Yeah,
And, yeah,
but
I
it's
agree with
cool.
you.
I think we could definitely, a lot of these questions that I've had myself as a loan officer, right? Forget about as a buyer. I bought a house, 2004, right? So that's when I first, bought my first, house, and, so like I as a client, I feel, I've experienced that. But as a loan officer, I had so many questions. I had so many questions that even for the podcast, it lent itself to even other loan officers that are that are getting into the business, who have who are in the first, second year, and they're trying to figure things out. We definitely can be a source of of knowledge, and a group where we'd be definitely interested in growing in a way we can helping
Teaching.
a couple loan officers that could be able to be a good fit, and be able to be a good
Could be your good role model.
good role model. Exactly. Like, so they don't make all the mistakes that we've made. I mean, you still have going
Yeah.
to make mistakes, but there would be different mistakes.
Exactly.
It's like that's just
I was telling you guys a story about, I was selling a house, and the buyer, was using this loan officer, and I helped him throughout the whole loan, because he obviously was new. You could tell.
right.
And,
A lot of his elements, maybe too, because you'd be surprised how long people have been doing this,
Yeah,
and they don't
That's true.
really know.
That's true. Yeah.
So
But it's funny because the buyer and kept saying, "Is he new? Like, I don't understand. Like, how does he? There's so many things that I have said to him throughout the process. Trying to be nice, but every time he said, "Oh, you clear the clothes. You clear the clothes." Meanwhile, we were not clear the clothes.
yeah, see, dread.
Like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
say those things. Like I used to say to him, stop saying these things to people, because if this is really how you do it, and then even
There's
the
a
interest
backlash.
rate, they told the buyer, a different interest rate, and then it's 3/4 of a point different now she got her closing disclosure, and just things like that obviously we all know is out there, but it's horrible. And I didn't take her loan because I'm representing the seller, and my fiduciary duty is to the seller, so I didn't want to be a dual agent. But just dealing with a loan officer and me seeing firsthand how they act with people and what they say, I was literally flabbergasted. I'm not even kidding you. I could not even believe my ears. Half of the time what he said, I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
Mind
like
blowing.
I feel like
he blew my mind.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's not just
Yeah.
So I've definitely finding someone like we
That you
definitely
could
could
teach
that we could
and-
definitely
and really,
teach.
yeah.
And,
Not that we listen. We think we are good at what we do, and we're not trying
Right.
to say everybody out there is horrible, but you got to make sure who you're dealing with. And
Right. Yeah.
You
No, I know for a fact
Yeah.
there's definitely loan officers out there that are feeling lost. They feel they didn't captivate last year, which was a booming year. I think everybody did really well.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of loan officers that wish that they had a better partnership, and that's something that we can offer. So
Definitely.
not only from helping clients and be able to make sure that in terms of the podcast, who we interview and whatnot, but also who we can grow with in terms of creating also community of loan officers that are trying to work the same way we are, right? In terms of sitting down with clients, developing the relationship, doing the right thing. So that's something that I wanted to make sure that if anybody was out there that needed help with that
We're
we
here.
definitely are in a good position right now to develop that, because believe it or not, I've always said, all right, we could have a 100 loan officers. We could do this. We could do that. But the reality is this: that the way our business works, just between us three, it's a business, right? Taking on someone, which I thought really with time we should take on people, whatever. A lot of people in one shot or whatever the case was. We were trying to grow, but to take on someone to keep and grow and develop, in what they would need. It's definitely good to start in a small group.
Yes.
And grow from there,
Yeah.
like kind of the closer to, you are to the source, basically. Than to be in a group where you're like, 10, 15 people, and every day you're, you just have questions and you're lost and
then
like
you're
everything
just lost
else.
in the crowd.
Yeah,
So
it's just
like
Yeah.
or even on your own, like,
yeah.
it's just like, so I know for a fact that, I definitely, went through, the growing pains of the industry. And if I can help someone with that, and also teach them our way, that, that'd be also very satisfying, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
So,
So I guess wrap this up.
yeah. So it looks
Wrap
like
it
Steve has a pop quiz. Are we done with the pop quizzes or?
Yeah, we did the pop quiz.
Oh, we did the pop quiz already?
Yeah.
Okay.
I-
So
That
About
was
the
the
inflation.
question,
That was
Yeah.
the question.
but we went on a tangent.
Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna have. All right, so that was an easy one. I was like, all right, so. But anyway, so yeah, it was really cool. We had an awesome experience. I feel like that.
I'm excited.
This first podcast was amazing. As far as like, I thought it was gonna be a little bit different.
It was
like-
great. Yeah. So thank you
I get-
everybody for listening.
Yes.
Yeah, like get to
and
put a shout.
watching this podcast. That was great.
Yeah, and this is episode 1, right, of our podcast.
Yes.
Join
you
us
know,
on our journey.
Thank you for
know?
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Come
you for
back.
listening. And follow us on social media. We're at the Homeroom Lending, and we're gonna have we're gonna have a lot of cool things coming up.
Yeah, exciting.